Okay, so here we are on lesson 11-2, triangles. Okay, in this lesson, mostly we will be asked to find the missing measure of the angle of the third one inside triangle, because we have this formula right here. It's called the angle sum of a triangle. It says the sum of the measures of the interior angles of a triangle is 180 degrees. Okay, which means that if you add up all three of the angles inside the triangle, they will always add up to 180. So here, if you have two of these angles already measured out for you, then you can solve for the third one. And that's what you will be doing today in this lesson. There are other vocabulary like vertex, angle, side, which I don't think we need to explain. Okay, so for most of the lesson questions, this is what you will be doing. They will give you the measure of two of them, and then you will figure out the third one, okay, by basically just subtracting. Okay, so here's the missing one. These are the two that they give you. They add up to 180, and that's how you solve for the missing number. Okay, so that's the basic premise of this lesson. I'm gonna go to the next page. Okay, let me see. Come on. Okay, I think I did it again unnecessarily. Let me go back a little bit. Okay, so and then let's see what's here. Okay. All right, if they say the measures are in a ratio of 1 to 3 to 8, then what are the measures of the angle? Okay, so because we know that they all add up to 180, you can just say, well, if it's 1, then it's 1 times x. Okay, that's the ratio. They have a ratio of 1 to 3 to 8. Okay, so that means if, say, the x was 10, okay, then you have 10 plus 30 plus 80. Okay, but that's not going to add up to 180, so that's not really true. But let's say the x, so we don't know what the x is, but we know what their ratios are. Then you just put the ratio as the coefficient in front of the x. Okay, you let x represent the measure of the first angle. So that's x, the first one. The second one is 3 times that. The third one is 8 times that. And they will add up to 180, and then you can solve for x, which is 15 in this case. So if the first angle is 15, then the next angle will be 45, and the last angle will be 120. And then if you add them up, you will see that they do add up to 180, and then that will prove that it was correct. Okay, that's how you check. All right. And then there's like these things called exterior angles. Okay, so if you were to draw the side of an angle and extend it. Okay, let me see if I can zoom this in. Okay, let's say you can extend this. Okay, let's look at this one down here. Okay, this side. And if you extend this line out, you see that angle 2 and angle 6 become supplementary angles. 2 would be an interior angle. 6 will be an exterior angle to this triangle. Okay, so is number 4, angle 4, and also angle 5 are all exterior angles. And 1, 2, and 3 are interior angles. They're on the inside. But what we also know is 2 and 6 will add up to 180 as well. Or we can also say that 1 and 3 will add up to 6 as well. Okay, because these three angles add up to 180, and then this angle 2 and angle 6, they also add up to 180. Okay, all right, so these are some of the things that you will also need to know in order to solve some of these problems. Okay, all right, so and finally, when you're trying to do some classification, okay, hold on, this is going to be a little bit hard. Okay, all right, we're going to look at this Classification. You can classify by angles or you can classify by sides. If you're classifying triangles according to their angles, there are three possibilities. Okay, you can have a right triangle where one of the angles is a right angle. You could have the acute triangle, which is the most common one, where all three of them are acute angles. Or you can have an obtuse angle where one of the angles inside is over 90 degrees. That's called an obtuse angle. So this whole triangle is called an obtuse triangle. If you classify them according to the sides that they have, you will have scalene triangles where none of the sides are the same in measure. Isosceles is where you have two of the sides having the same measure, they're congruent. Or equilateral, where all three sides are congruent. They all have the same measure, same length. Okay, so this is one way, two different ways. So triangles can be classified either by their angles or by their sides or both. And congruent sides are sides that have the same length. Okay. All right. Okay, so usually also when you have isosceles triangles, then the opposite angle, if you look at this line, okay, this line, the angle that's opposite that and the angle that's opposite that one, these two usually will have the same, they will have the same angle measure as well. All right, so these are some examples. Notice they say this triangle is a right scalene. So it tells you what the angle, what type of an angle it has. It's a right triangle. A scalene means that all three sides are different. They're not congruent. Okay, so they classify it according to the angle here and according to the sides. And that's how you can classify them. And that's, I think, that is all there is to this lesson. Let me click and see. Yep, that's it. And these are the guided practice questions. All right, good luck.